Hello everyone, and welcome back to Queen Elizabeth: A Day in Her Life. Well, I must be one of the few people who hasn't seen the series The Crown on Netflix, and I've been curious about it and may one day get the DVDs because I don't subscribe to Netflix. And it got me wondering what the royal family thought of a show about their lives. So today we're going to find that out. So let's start with the main characters. First up is Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Well, no one knew what the Queen felt about the series, according to Today.com. It is said that Matt Smith, who played Prince Philip for 2 seasons of the series, heard that the Queen had watched it, and she used to watch it on a projector on Sunday night, apparently. And according to The Express, the late monarch was introduced to the crown by her son, Edward, and his wife, Sophie, Countess of Wessex, who love it. It had been a long-standing arrangement that they drive to Windsor at the weekend to join the Queen for an informal supper while watching TV or a film, the reports read. And they had the next Netflix account and urged her to watch it with them. Happily, she really liked it, although obviously there were some depictions of the events that she found too heavily dramatized. A friend of Smith said he was sitting next to Prince Philip and asked him if he watched the show, and Prince Philip said, "Don't be ridiculous." Next up is Camilla, Queen Consort, and Dominic West, the actor who portrayed Prince Charles in season 5 and 6 of The Crown, saw Camilla at an event in 2021, and she said to him, "Your Majesty." She didn't say she watched the show, but she was aware of it. Next up, Prince William and Kate. Well, Prince William said he didn't watch the show, and I suppose Kate didn't watch it either because there's no mention of her response to The Crown. Prince Harry and Meghan. According to Today.com, in 2021, Prince Harry told the Late Late Show host James Corden that he watched The Crown before. "They don't pretend to be news. It's fictional, but it's loosely based on the truth," he said during an interview, adding that the show isn't entirely accurate, but it gives you a rough idea about the lifestyle, the pressures of putting duty and service above family, and everything else, what can come from that. So during the couple's interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2021, Harry said they both have seen the show. When asked by Oprah, "I've watched some of it, and we watched some of it," Harry said. Then next up is Princess Eugenie. This Princess Eugenie is the daughter of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, and when asked if she watched the show, she stated, "I did watch a couple of episodes of The Crown. It was filmed beautifully. The music is wonderful. The story is beautiful," she said at the time, per Town and Country. And the princess, now 32, said she felt proud while watching the show. "I can't speak for everyone, but that's how I felt when I watched it," she added. Next up, Sarah Ferguson. Sarah, Prince Andrew's ex-wife, said, "The show needs to cover her story a little bit more. Hello, where is Fergie?" she joked at the time. Ferguson is still a fan of the Netflix hit, even if she wants more screen time. "I thought it was filmed beautifully. The cinematography was excellent," she told Us Weekly in 2021. "And I love the way they put my wedding in as well." Now we have Mike Tyndall. Queen Elizabeth II's granddaughter, Zara, is married to Mike Tyndall, and the couple shares 3 children. In 2021, Tyndall revealed that he was following The Crown, as reported by People. "I need to catch up," he said during a podcast. "I actually saw the advert for it, and I was like, ooh, I need to catch up, because I only got about halfway through season 3. So I started watching season 3 last night, and then I'll catch up. But I've seen it all over the place this morning on these popular midday TV shows." Prince Charles watched the series till season 4 because it dealt with his mom and dad, but he didn't want to see season 5 because it dealt with him and his first wife, Princess Diana. While Prince Charles included Camilla in his plans not to watch season 5, she has plans to watch it. A royal insider stated, "I imagine she'll be tuning in with a glass of red wine to watch it. She has seen the previous series," the source, this one described as a friend of Camilla's, explained, "and she has a wonderful sense of humor, and this won't fuss her in the slightest." The Camilla source also reported that the Queen Consort has watched the previous seasons, and that Charles seems to have too, and that she doesn't let the potentially uncomfortable subject matter, which includes her husband's first marriage, which ended after his affair with Camilla, to come to light, and the thing called Tampon Gate, get to her. "I don't think she has any real issue with it," the source insisted. "Her feeling is very much never complain, never explain." Princess Anne. According to Honey.com, Princess Anne watched the earlier episodes but doesn't watch the series any longer, but she found the show quite interesting. She also shared her amusement over comments made by her on-screen counterpart, Erin Dougherty, who claimed her Princess Anne hairstyle would take up to 2 hours to create during filming. The actress was talking about how long it took them to do their hair like I did, and I'm thinking, how could it possibly take that long? Anne quipped, I mean, it takes me 10 or 15 minutes. So now we'll see what the Crown got wrong in the lives of the royal family. So the first one is King Edward was more involved with the Nazis than the Crown showed. Reader's Digest said, the Crown shows the Duke attempting to minimize the significance of these missteps, which he appears to categorize as merely diplomatic in nature. In truth, it appears the Duke of Windsor's links to the Nazi Party may have been more than mere diplomatic dallying. In real life, the Duke and Duchess of Windsor appear to have been close personal friends with several Nazi officers. The Duchess may have had a romantic relationship with a high-ranking Nazi officer, and the Duke was observed giving the full Nazi salute to various party members during a 1937 trip to Germany. Biography also reports that during his lifetime, the Duke was heard saying that Hitler was not such a bad chap and blaming the Jews for causing World War II. There might not have been a plot to break up Camilla and Charles. The Crown portrayed this by depicting the Queen Mother and Lord Mountbatten, an uncle of Prince Charles's, sending Charles overseas and manipulating the Shand and Parker Bowles families into fast-tracking to the 1973 wedding of Camilla and Andrew. An English historian maintains that no such scheme ever happened or would have been necessary, since Camilla was more smitten with Andrew than she was with Charles, at least at that point in time. The Crown exaggerated the timeline of Prince Charles and Diana. According to the ReadersDigest.com, the show made it seem like Prince Charles and Camilla were having an affair the whole time he was married to Diana. The truth is, when Camilla married in 1973, she stopped seeing Prince Charles in an intimate way, but they remained friends. In 1979, they resumed their romantic relationship, according to Bedell Smith's biography of Prince Charles, but then ceased the affair when Prince Charles married Diana. Charles and Camilla did not pick up again until 1986. Of course, none of that is to say in real life Camilla and Charles were not continually in touch, or that Camilla's relationship with the prince was not intrusive enough to be perceived as a threat by Diana. Both are true according to Princess Diana's own words in her interview with Martin Barchese in 1995. Next up, the hereditary principle was meant to bring a little light, a little talked about shadow on the royal family, the existence of mentally disabled cousins who were hidden away in an institution. However, Vickers, the historian, roundly disputes that the events depicted in the scripted drama had any basis in reality, with the exception that the two cousins were born with a developmental disorder and cared for in an institution. Among the factual inconsistencies, Princess Margaret never visited the cousins, and the cousins weren't kept a secret. Next up, the Crown shows Queen Elizabeth's father sick in 1947 when he wasn't. It wasn't until a year later that her father began to suffer from leg pain, and doctors diagnosed a circulatory blockage and performed surgery for that, and his lung cancer wasn't diagnosed until 1951. So Elizabeth and Philip's wedding didn't go smoothly, as the show depicted. According to Reader's Digest, the diamond tiara that Elizabeth wore, her something borrowed, snapped in half on the way to the wedding. It was quickly fixed by an on-call court jeweler, but not to perfection. In the real-life wedding photos, a gap in the tiara is clearly visible. And then Elizabeth forgot her pearl necklace and sent her secretary to retrieve it, but the traffic was so bad the secretary had to make most of the journey on foot. And next, Queen Elizabeth's bridal bouquet went missing, but it was eventually discovered in a cooler. So it sounds like they had a lot of things that happened during that wedding. Next up, the Queen's mother-in-law didn't wear a nun's habit to the wedding. Philip's mother wore a simple silk dress. They were trying to show how eccentric she was, but on the Queen's coronation, she did wear a nun's habit because by that time she had become a nun. And next we have Queen Elizabeth never had a crush on Portia. The Crown depicts the relationship between Elizabeth and her childhood friend Lord Porchester as having sexual tension, while Philip grows increasingly jealous. In real life, however, this never happened. From the age of 13, Elizabeth only had eyes for one man, and that was Philip. Next, Winston Churchill's starstruck secretary was fictional. In the show, the secretary was seen run over by a bus trying to relay an important message to Winston Churchill. It was then that Winston Churchill proposed the Clean Air Act. Her death and life were both fictional. The Great Smog itself was certainly a real event, though. London was enveloped in a blanket of thick, poisonous smog for several days, leading to thousands of deaths in overburdened hospitals. Then we have Prince Philip's affair with a Russian ballet dancer is just speculation. There's no evidence that he had an affair with a Russian ballet dancer, as the Crown suggests. In fact, Time suggests that the ballet dancer in question, Galina Alanova, may not even have been heterosexual. And next up is Prince Philip didn't stare down an elephant. In the series, the future queen and her husband are confronted by a raging elephant, and Philip supposedly said, "Don't mess with me, I'm going to be king." That never happened. And then next up is Queen Elizabeth didn't stop the marriage between her sister and Peter Townsend, I should say. Elizabeth wanted her sister to be happy, and she had gone so far as to draw up papers that would permit Margaret to retain her royal title upon her marriage to Townsend, according to the BBC. So why didn't the marriage happen? Well, the relationship had simply run its course. And then Prince Philip wasn't blamed for his sister's death. And then the bad behavior that Philip had a fist fight never happened, and this supposedly led to his sister Cicely to get on a plane that killed her and her entire family in 1937, and that's not really what happened. However, according to the historian Vickers, Cicely had planned on getting on the plane regardless of anything that was going on with her brother. So the Crown does a great job in showing the royal family and their history, but as in all movies, they take liberties in facts at times, and that is why it's good to have books that tell the real stories. I think I will get the series because it looks entertaining and has a great group of actors in it. And I hope everybody has enjoyed the video, and if you did, if you could give it a thumbs up, I would appreciate it. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, if you could, that would be good too. So everyone have a great day, and tune in again soon to Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. Thank you. Bye.